A first-time father was taking his baby for a routine checkup with the pediatrician in another city when a sudden accident during the return journey left the father in despair upon waking up and realizing that his baby had disappeared from the car. On a vibrant autumn afternoon in Paris, France, Camille, a talented fashion designer, and Lucas, an ambitious photographer, met during a contemporary art exhibition. Drawn to each other through an instant connection and a shared passion for the arts, they quickly became inseparable. Living together in a charming apartment in the heart of Paris, their careers flourished, and life was a whirlwind of cultural events and romantic nights under the city's stars. On one particularly starry night, as they walked hand in hand along the Seine, Camille shared the exciting news that she was pregnant. The moment was magical, with the Eiffel Tower illuminated in the background, bearing witness to the promise of a new life. Augustus, overflowing with joy, embraced Camille, promising eternal love and support. They hadn't planned this pregnancy, but the news was welcomed as an unexpected gift, further enriching their love. The couple's joy was soon tested when Lucas's publisher declared bankruptcy and Camille's fashion boutique faced financial difficulties due to a sudden shift in the market. In no time, they found themselves in a precarious situation, forced to leave their beloved apartment and move to a modest cottage on the outskirts of Paris, near a vast forest. Despite the adversities, Camille and Lucas clung to the love they shared and the promise of a future for their baby. They adapted to the new reality, taking on freelance work to make ends meet. Lucas discovered an unexpected passion for nature, capturing the wild beauty of the forest with his camera, while Camille found inspiration in rural landscapes for her new fashion creations. Together, they found joy in life's simple pleasures, eagerly awaiting the arrival of their baby, pledging to provide a home filled with love, regardless of financial challenges. Camille, gazing at the stars through the window of their new home, said to Lucas, "Despite it all, I feel like we're exactly where we need to be. Together, we can face anything." Lucas, holding Camille's hand, replied, "Yes, my love. This child will be a light in our lives, no matter where we are. We will create our own little piece of paradise, here or anywhere else." As the days passed, Camille and Lucas found comfort in their new life. Surrounded by the serenity of nature, Lucas spent mornings exploring the forest, capturing the magic of the first rays of sun filtering through the trees with his camera. Camille, on the other hand, dedicated herself to her art. Together they prepared for the arrival of their baby, turning a corner of the cottage into a cozy crib. One rainy autumn afternoon, while Lucas was out in the forest gathering firewood, he came face to face with a wolf. Lucas's heart raced, but something about the animal's demeanor indicated it wasn't there to attack. The wolf, thin and hungry-looking, seemed more interested in the prey Lucas was carrying. Remembering the harsh reality of survival in nature, Lucas made an instinctive choice of compassion. He placed the firewood on the ground, along with the prey, and slowly backed away. The wolf approached, took the prey gently, and before disappearing into the forest, stopped and looked at Lucas as if in gratitude. That same night, as the full moon illuminated the sky, Camille began to experience the first contractions. Lucas, by her side, held her hand, conveying strength and love. They knew the moment they had been waiting for had finally arrived. Despite the tension and nervousness, there was a sense of peace between them, knowing they were about to welcome their child into this tranquil place, surrounded by nature. Due to the urgency, Lucas prepared the car and helped Camille inside. The journey to the nearest hospital was long and winding, passing through the dense forest that was now a part of their lives. Camille, focusing on her breathing, looked out the window, admiring the wild beauty and thinking about the life she was about to bring into the world. Upon arriving at the hospital, they were immediately attended to. After hours of hard work, the baby's cry filled the room with emotion and joy. Lucas and Camille cried together, embracing their son Arthur for the first time. It was a moment of pure happiness, a new beginning for their small family. In the silence of the hospital room, with Arthur in their arms, Camille whispered, "Look at him, Lucas, our little miracle. He's perfect." Lucas, with tears in his eyes, replied softly, "He is, Camille. He's proof that even in the toughest moments, something wonderful can emerge." Our journey to this point, it was worth it for this exact moment. After a few days in the hospital, Camille and Lucas prepared to take Arthur home. As they drove back to the cottage, the excitement of starting this new phase in their lives was palpable. Camille held Arthur gently, marveling at every little gesture and sound he made. Lucas, though focused on the road, cast loving and proud glances at his family, feeling complete. Life at the cottage with Arthur brought a new routine for Camille and Lucas, filled with love, but also the challenges of caring for a newborn. 1 week after their return, a routine checkup with the pediatrician was scheduled. However, it coincided with an opportunity for Camille to present her new nature-inspired collection to a potential investor. They decided that Lucas would take Arthur to the appointment alone. On the way back from the appointment, the weather suddenly changed. A storm brewed, with strong winds and relentless rain. Lucas, trying to stay calm and ensure Arthur's safety, slowed down. However, destiny had other plans. A tree, uprooted by the force of the wind, fell abruptly in front of the car, forcing Lucas to make a sudden stop that resulted in the car overturning. Lucas woke up dazed, his mind foggy. His first and only concern was Arthur. Despite the pain and shock, he crawled out of the wreckage, calling for his son. However, the baby was not in the car. Panic engulfed Lucas. He cried out for Arthur, searching amidst the rain and debris, but there was no sign of his child. Lucas, desperate, managed to find his phone and called Camille, his trembling voice betraying the terror he felt. "Camille, it was an accident. The tree, it fell in front of the car. I can't find Arthur." On the other end of the line, Camille felt her world crumble. "I'm on my way, Lucas. Stay there. I'll call for help," she said, fighting back tears and a sense of helplessness. The emergency team arrived quickly at the scene, along with Camille, who ran to Lucas's side. They embraced, united by anguish and fear, while the rescuers attended to Lucas. The search for Arthur began. The forest around them turned into the backdrop for a desperate search for the missing baby. Amidst the chaos, Lucas, firmly holding Camille's hand, said, "He has to be here. Camille, we will find our son." Camille, tears streaming down her face, replied, "Yes, Lucas, we won't stop until we bring him back home. He is strong, like us." Night fell over the forest, shrouding everything in darkness, as Camille and Lucas, along with the search team, continued to look for Arthur. The anguish was palpable. Every second felt like an eternity. Camille and Lucas, exhausted but refusing to give in to despair, held on to the hope of finding their son. As the official search began to wind down with the approaching dawn, Lucas felt an uncontrollable urgency. "I need to keep going," he said to Camille, determination burning in his eyes. "There's something calling me deeper into the forest." Camille, despite her fear, agreed. "Then let's go together," she said, knowing that together they were stronger. As they advanced through the forest, a familiar figure emerged from the shadows, the wolf that Lucas had encountered before Arthur's birth. The animal watched them silently, showing no signs of aggression. It then began to move slowly, as if inviting them to follow. Lucas and Camille, driven by a mix of intuition and desperation, decided to follow the wolf, a choice that seemed beyond reason, but guided by something deep and unexplainable. Guided by the wolf, they arrived at a clearing bathed in the first rays of dawn. There, wrapped in a blanket, was Arthur, crying but unharmed. The relief and joy they felt at finding him were indescribable. Camille ran to her son, picking him up in her arms, while Lucas silently thanked the wolf, who watched from a distance. Lucas approached the wolf, his eyes meeting the animal's. There was an unspoken understanding, a recognition of a debt they could never repay. After a brief moment, the wolf turned and disappeared into the forest, leaving behind a forever grateful family. With Arthur safe in their arms, Camille and Lucas made their way back to the cottage, the dawn bathing them in light. The experience had changed something within them, a new understanding of life's fragility and preciousness, and the power of an act of kindness. Back at the cottage, with Arthur peacefully asleep, Camille said to Lucas, "I can't quite understand how Lucas, looking out the window towards the forest, replied, "There are things in this world, Camille, that go beyond our understanding." Today, we were reminded of the kindness not only in human hearts, but also in the wild. The morning after Arthur's rescue, Camille and Lucas sat on the porch of their cottage, watching the sunrise over the forest that had been the scene of so much fear. And finally, a miracle. Arthur played quietly in Camille's lap, oblivious to the trials his parents had gone through to find him. Lucas broke the silence, reflecting aloud, "Yesterday I felt the greatest fear of my life, but also the greatest gratitude. Nature, in its wildest form, taught us about vulnerability and strength, fear and faith." Camille, gently stroking Arthur's head, added, "And about unexpected kindness. That wolf, it was our light in the darkness. Maybe, in some way, the universe was repaying us for the kindness you showed." With the experience they had lived through, Camille and Lucas vowed never to forget the lessons they had learned. They decided to share their story, not only as a testament to danger and hope, but also to inspire others to recognize and respect the connection between all living beings. Inspired by the events, Lucas began planning a photography series capturing the interaction between humans and wild nature, highlighting coexistence and mutual dependence. Camille, on the other hand, decided to create a line of children's clothing inspired by the resilience and beauty of nature, dedicating a portion of the profits to wildlife conservation organizations. Together, Camille and Lucas envisioned a future where Arthur would grow up, knowing the story of his own survival, learning from an early age about the importance of compassion, courage, and connection to the natural world. They dreamed of teaching him that even in the darkest moments, there was always room for kindness and hope. While Arthur slept peacefully, Lucas said, "He will always know how precious life is and how kindness comes back in ways we never expect." Camille smiled, responding, "Yes, and that every act of kindness is a seed for the future. We, as his family, will cultivate these seeds together."